So hello everyone, my name is Ashley Thomas. I'm a registered dietitian here in Peoria. I have a private practice, but today what I'm here to talk about is a passion project that I've been working on for the past year, and that is called Cook With Me TV. And Cook With Me TV is basically a live stream cooking show where you cook dinner along with me, but in your own kitchen. So instead of scrolling through Instagram and wishing that you could eat that perfectly pictured braised chicken with roasted rosemary potatoes and sauteed greens, you can actually have it on your dinner table in under 30 minutes if you cook with me. Before I talk any more about what Cook With Me TV is and how it works, I wanted to give you a little background as to why I even started doing this in the first place. So my mission as a dietitian is very simple. And that is to help people eat healthier. It's not a new mission. There's lots of people and companies out there who are trying to do the same thing, but what we're doing right now, the landscape of nutrition education, it's not working. When we look at statistics, we see that 2/3 of the population here in America are overweight and obese. We see that 30 million Americans have diabetes, and every year 1.5 million more Americans are diagnosed with diabetes. We also have astronomical high rates of heart disease, so people who are experiencing heart attacks and strokes. There's about 20 million Americans experiencing that as well. So we know that food and nutrition is tied to our health. It can either create health or create disease. And so that is my mission as a dietitian, and that's why I started Cook With Me TV. This is kind of a perfect picture of diet culture. I was actually just talking to Nicole about this last night. You know, as humans, we are wired to want the quick fix. We want something that's easy, we want instant gratification, and that's what diets offer, or so they try to offer, right? So paleo, keto, Weight Watchers, low carb, no sugar. There's all this noise about how to eat healthy, but we're not finding the answers that we're looking for. The diet industry is a multi-billion-dollar industry. Americans spend over $60 billion a year on diet and weight loss products. But research shows that diets don't work. 80% of people who lose weight on a diet regain that weight the next year. So we have to find something more sustainable. And this is just to give you a little bit of a background of where we're getting our nutrition information. So, and you probably know this in your own life, right? Day-to-day basis. You read things on the internet. You hear things from family and friends. It seems like everyone and their mom is a nutritionist and they have an opinion on nutrition. And yes, it's very emotional and personal, but it's also science. Nutrition is a science, and it's very hard to find credible, unbiased nutrition information. And that's what Cook With Me TV seeks to provide. We do have registered dietitians, of course. I am one, and I'm gonna toot my horn for a second and say that dietitians are the gold standard for nutrition education. We go to school for 4+ years to learn about the science of nutrition, to translate healthy eating into an easily digestible form so that we can help people improve their lives. The one thing that's missing though is behavior change. So even though we have all of this information, we try all of the diets, these things don't work. Behavior change is really at the heart of eating well and figuring out what it is that works for you. And cooking is central to that. If you don't know how to cook vegetables, if you don't know how to make them taste good, you're not going to eat them. And so that's where Cook With Me TV comes in. We not only provide an online space and a community to help you access credible, unbiased, evidence-based nutrition information, but we also nudge you to get out from behind your computer and out from behind your cell phone and actually get in the kitchen and cook and create something that's healthy and something that you enjoy. So we're all about creating the habit, not the diet. And this is just a picture of one of the camera angles of what Cook With Me TV looks like. Has anybody tuned in to Cook With Me TV that's here? Okay, awesome. So a few people. If you haven't yet, I'll talk about that in just a second. But what we do is we post the ingredients of what you need every week. So you can get those ingredients out. You can tune into the live show, which is on Facebook, and you can actually cook along with me. You learn cooking skills. You learn a little bit about nutrition education. You learn how to make healthy food taste good, which is the hardest part of eating well, right? If it doesn't taste good, you're not going to eat it. So that's what we're here to help show you. If you haven't yet seen or tuned into a show, I encourage you to come cook with me. I'm cooking on Facebook Live every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Central Time. give it a try. If I had to ask something of the group here, I would encourage you to give it a try, and I would love to hear your feedback. It's something that we're still figuring out at Cook With Me TV. Like I said, I've been doing this for about a year. We've had people here and there cook along with us, but it's hard to get people to stick with it, and that is indicative of how hard behavior change is. There is no simple quick fix for eating a healthy diet, losing weight, and keeping it off. It starts with behavior change, and that's what Cook With Me TV seeks to do, is to help hold your hand along the way while you create these new healthy eating behaviors and make it something that's sustainable so that you don't ever have to diet again. That's Cook With Me TV.
Do you have a favorite chef as an inspiration, like somebody that connected with you when you were in the process of going through dietary school, and where else have you found inspiration besides just the science?
Sure. So when I was in college, majoring in dietetics and learning about nutrition, I got into watching Food Network. I'll say Food Network is really where I learned how to cook. My mom and my grandma taught me how to cook a little bit growing up, but I didn't really get into it until I started watching the Food Network. And I guess Giada De Laurentiis, who's an Italian cook on the Food Network, was a big inspiration for me. But I loved that I could. Does anybody here watch cooking shows or the Food Network? Okay, a little bit. For me, it was just I could sit there and watch, cooking shows for a couple of hours, and I really did learn a lot of information. But what I also did was get into the kitchen and start following recipes and try doing the things that they were doing on TV. And that's really what ignited my passion for cooking and trying to do it in a healthy way.
Actually, I have to compliment you on one particular thing, and that is the idea that you help people set themselves up for success by posting the ingredients and allowing them the opportunity to shop ahead, have the ingredients there, and then, like you said, have them cook alongside so that they're not, doing this alone. And I absolutely love the interaction that you have with your audience during your shows. It seems so natural and so conversational that it makes me want to cook stuff, okay?
Okay.
So it's great.
Thank you, and that's a good point too. The fact that it is live, it gives us an opportunity to chat back and forth with people on the other end of the computer. So if you are cooking with me and you're like, I forgot to get my kohlrabi or whatever it is that you're using, can I use this instead? You can ask that question, or you can ask about substitutions, or you can sit back and watch and just chat with the community because you're still learning things. So thanks for bringing that up. Yeah.
Is there any way to watch previous episodes?
Yeah, so on Facebook you can go back and watch previous episodes. We also have a YouTube channel where we've got all of the other episodes there as well. I will say we don't have a very good organized system for finding old videos. Like there's really not a great way to search for certain things. So like if you're wanting a chicken recipe, you can search Facebook videos for chicken and it'll pull up recipes that have chicken in the title, but that's something that we are working on. And we really want to encourage people to do it live because it's more fun that way. Yeah.
What is the interaction? Chat? Like, you're the only one who can speak or whatever?
Yep, I'm the only one that speaks, so it's me live streaming, me cooking, and then it's people just typing in, questions, comments, answers on the Facebook Live video. Yeah, and then like I'll see someone who says something. Oh, Jane said that she tried this last week and it was really good. Or Jane is asking if she can use olive oil here instead of canola oil. So things like that.
So you're kind of managing as you go. You're kind of.
I'm managing as I go. Yeah, absolutely. And I'm also, which I didn't really talk about, I have 3 webcams in my kitchen that are all plugged into my laptop computer. I'm mic'd up and I've got lights. So it's like a DIY production studio, if you will. And then I just use OBS. I don't know if you're familiar with OBS, but it's an open source like live streaming platform where I can stream through that into Facebook, and that allows me to change camera angles with just the click of a button. So I'm here chopping, I have a close-up on the cutting board so you can see what I'm chopping, and then if I'm going over to the stove, I can click a button and you can see top down on the stove what I'm doing. So it's very interactive.
Actually, you have some other people involved with your organization as well, right? Other dietitians and other people that prepare food as well for people to follow along?
Yeah, So our main, and when I say our, it's a joint effort between my husband, David, and I. Our main goal starting out with this was to create Twitch for dietitians. I don't know if anybody's familiar with Twitch. I see you guys not, so good. Twitch is a platform where gamers can live stream themselves playing video games. So we wanted to mimic that and have a plethora of dietitians with their own specialty area who can speak to their own audiences and have this place where people know I'm trying to find credible, unbiased nutrition information. This is where I go. So we started off the year by having a total of, I think it was 5 dietitians who had shows at different times throughout the week, because we thought it would be good to hit different time zones. You know, not everybody's available Wednesday at 6 p.m., but maybe they're available Tuesdays at 5 p.m. So we tried to fill some different time slots. And so yes, we had a few dietitians on. Live viewership didn't really increase. It peaked and it never really went past our peak. So we figured that we needed to take a step back and try to do a few things differently, which is kind of where we are right now.
So I know she mentioned Twitch, that has a huge platform, tons of views, it's just booming. Have you ever thought about doing game-themed food so that like nerds and gamers will actually get interested in what you're cooking because they'll attach it to their fantasy world?
I haven't considered that. I've thought of it. We do have friends that game, and they were saying that they have a cookbook. What is it?
It's like a World of Warcraft.
Yeah, so you don't even have to do that, you just have to give it a fake name or whatever, just find a popular thing and then just attach it to that product and make it kind of look like the game. And nerds would jump in to see how they can cook their favorite meal from a video game. So, and then you could actually stream it on Twitch and they'd sponsor it because they want to get more of a community-based stuff going. So a lot of stuff when I go on, because I watch Twitch all the time, so when you said that, I was like, ooh, guilty. Watch that channel all the time. So they have a bunch of community-based stuff that they promote. And so if you actually you have to get some following first. But doing that, and nerds would love to just cook alongside for their favorite, orc dish that actually doesn't exist, but you said it is.
Okay, interesting, okay.
Are there any regulatory or legal concerns covering nutrition education or nutrition advice over the internet?
Yeah, so that's a good question. Any regulatory or legal issues? When we get into the area of providing medical nutrition therapy, so for example, I'm trying to help somebody follow a diet because they have kidney disease. Having kidney disease entails that you have a diet that's low in protein, phosphorus, sodium, and potassium. It's very restrictive. It's difficult to follow. I'm technically not allowed to provide that type of counseling or medical nutrition therapy across state lines unless I'm licensed in that area. So there are some parameters with that we must consider when doing this. I think right now what we're doing is just having a very general approach and providing, basic nutrition education that we're not going to get in trouble for doing, but we do see ourselves getting into these more specific funnels. So helping people with kidney disease, and when we do that, we will have to figure out a way to provide that information across state lines.
Angela, would there be an opportunity then for you to be networking as you develop your viewership, to be networking with dietitians in other states who you may be able to develop some trust relationships with so that your viewership may reach out to you to say, hey, I have this particular issue and I realize that we're talking about this general situation, but is there somebody in my state that I might be able to reach out to further assist me beyond your show?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's the beauty of having this all online is that we're able to reach so many people. And the dietetic community is pretty tight-knit. We go to conferences every year for continuing education. We're like groupies for ourselves. We just love our profession, and people are always on board with providing nutrition education. And a lot of dietitians like what we're doing with Cook With Me TV and want to be a part of it. So I think it'll be quite easy, I say that now, to get dietitians on in each state whenever we need that.
So there might be a Cook With Me TV dietary or dietitian directory at some point.
Yeah,
That would be cool.
would be cool.
Nice.
So you're currently doing all this for free for your viewers, right? My understanding on Twitch is that people can give like tips or sponsor a gamer as they're playing, or like an analog in the podcasting world is that a lot of people say you can become a Patreon sponsor of us. Have you considered like monetizing that in any way, just so people who really like what you're doing can give a little bit each time they watch or something like that?
Yeah, that's a good question, and it's something that we think about a lot. how to monetize it. We've gone through a couple different models, like a subscription model where it's sort of like Netflix, you pay a small amount each month to have access to all of this information and these essential cooking classes. I do like, the Twitch idea where people can just donate money as they want to. Before we monetize, we want to figure out what works and what provides value and what is, helping people. We know that the information we have can help people, it's just packaging it in a way that actually helps people and works. So I think we're waiting to monetize until we figure that out. Because we talk about all the time, we've got like 15 regular viewers who tune in. It doesn't make sense to like have those 15 people pay right now when we're not quite sure like where this might go or what it might look like.
Is the focus on dietary advice, or is it more like this is a fun activity? Or, you know what I mean? Like, is it like right now? Because it seems like, you were talking about the dietary thing, and I get that, right? And that's important. But like you said, there's a lot of different diets for different people. So this is more of just like a broad reach right now, like trying to just grab viewership.
Yeah, that's a good question because we started out doing general nutrition, kind of like anybody who wants to learn how to eat healthy, come and learn. And then we said we didn't see viewership really take off, so we decided to kind of funnel our efforts and we started focusing on prenatal nutrition, so nutrition for pregnant women, and then nutrition for diabetes, just to try to see if maybe we could infiltrate specific groups with targeted information, if that would help. It didn't really do anything different for us. So now we've taken a step back. I do see the need for it to go back to that funneled type of information though. I just don't think that we've really figured out how to deliver this in the right way as of yet. So to answer your first question about is this advice or entertainment, I think it's a blend of the two. And I think that's it's just a more fun way to learn about something.
Oh yeah, I watch a YouTube channel frequently,
Yeah.
and I make things on there. But
Nice.
it can be anything from a very healthy thing to like he had his own version of cronuts.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Everything in moderation.
exactly. After eating half a dozen. But yeah, like it's a lot of that stuff's out there. So just like how you differentiate.
Yeah.
Well, this is more of a plug since I'm her mother-in-law, more than a question. But when you first started the show, what was really different for me, a couple of things. One, I'm just tired of making decisions of what I'm going to eat. So when you get the grocery list, you actually just check off the things you need to buy. You don't take the whole list with you and like, well, I already have that. You check off what you want, so you go with a list of just what you need to complete the meals. And I don't have to think about what I'm going to have on Tuesday because it's already decided for me and it's a good, healthy meal. The other thing is that I love watching cooking shows, but they never tell you anything about why you're doing what you're doing. It's just a lot of butter and a lot of salt to make it taste good. But you talk about the good food, but the nutritional part of it. Why an onion is actually good for you. Why the garlic is good for you. What is a prebiotic and a probiotic. Things I never have ever heard on a cooking show before. So I've actually lost 5 pounds since she moved here, and I eat more than I've ever eaten because I eat healthier food. And I didn't understand about blood sugar. Now I understand why it's important to eat the way that you eat. And I'm not a diabetic, but it still has been healthy for me. So
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. And I think that's important too because we don't receive basic nutrition education in school even really anymore. Even in elementary school we don't learn. You've seen the food pyramid, which is now a food plate, but that's really the extent of nutrition education. With all of the other nutrition noise that's out there, it's hard to decipher what's accurate and what you should believe. So we hope to help solve that problem in a different way.
What are you cooking tonight?
Tonight I'm cooking coconut curry lentils
Wow.
with some vegetables. Tune in.
So I'm a member of the community. I love eating healthy, but I have not heard about this. How are you making this expand, getting it in front of the faces of the people who need to see it? Because I think this has tons of potential for certain people who are excited about it. They just don't know, and It doesn't have to be even just local, because it's on the internet. This could be huge. What's your approach?
Facebook. And we haven't really poured any money or extensive resources into marketing. We've really just started doing in-person networking, so everywhere I'm going, I'm talking to people about it, of course, and the other dietitians that have been on the show kind of have their own networks that they're sharing it with. And I think we were hoping that Facebook would be like a really great place to grow this because of the number of people, the sheer number of people that are on Facebook. We thought for sure that it would, take off in that sense, but it didn't. I know.
Or maybe it just hasn't yet.
Not yet.
Maybe it just hasn't yet, right? Yeah. I'm not, I don't know much about marketing and
Okay.
help to have somebody who knows about marketing. But again, we're really trying to figure out what is working for people the most before we hardcore market our services.
Okay.
Although maybe it is something great that works for people and it's not being marketed enough so people don't know about it like you're saying and we just don't know that it's working. I don't know.
What do you want it to look like? I mean, as far as the future goes, what do you foresee? What's success to you? I'm just curious, like, how big is it?
I mean, I think it can be big. At the very least, I think it could be national. I mean, I would love to see it be this go-to online resource where people can, that people know to turn to. Oh, Cook With Me TV, is where I go to get my nutrition information because it's run by registered dietitians who are nutrition experts here and they know what they're doing. They're not going to tell me to follow a fad diet. They're going to help me really figure out what it is that I need that is going to help me work. So I see having, many, many dietitians on this platform, all having their own channel, so to speak, of doing their own cooking shows at regular times throughout the week so that people know, dietitian Abby is cooking every Thursday at 6 p.m. I'm going to be sure to cook with her. And even if it's just once a week, like people don't have to cook with us 5 times a week, 7 times a week. It could be just once a week, and I think you can gain a lot of helpful information from just once a week.
Well, I think it's time to ask you, Ashley, how can we, the people in this room and the local community, help you advance your process?
Yeah, just share the word of Cook With Me TV, have people like and follow our Facebook page. And I think most importantly, I would love, like I said earlier, for people to cook along with me one night and provide me feedback. I'll know if you're cooking with me because you'll probably tell me in the chat, so I'll make it a point to follow up with you so I can gain a little bit more insight on how your experience went. And I think that can help me a lot.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much.